Hello, 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 hello. Happy Monday. So, whoever is watching, I would appreciate if you get into the chat, become recognized, tell me a little bit about yourself, and we will begin the lesson. Today's lesson is we're going to work from the Gary Chaffee book, his pattern series, time functions, his jazz patterns. And we're going to work with the element of the triplet, the eighth note triplet, the one and the. Okay, that's how I count triplets, one and the, as opposed to one triplet. Occasionally, I will count triplets as 1, 2, 3 for subdivisional purposes. Okay, now we're going to play the jazz time, and we're going to break down 3 parts of the eighth note triplet, and we're going to utilize the stick control book as well. We use it as a reference and a formula. Okay? So let's begin. Let's work with first the element of the triplet. And we're going to work between the bass drum, the snare drum, and the hi-hat, and the ride cymbal. But first, let me do the snare drum part and the bass drum part. Now, there's 3 parts to the triplet. That's what it is, a triplet. Three notes. One and the, one and the. So we're going to take just the first part of the triplet, which would be the downbeat. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. Now, what I do with my snare drum, my left hand, 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the, I'm going to do with my bass drum as well. Okay, I'm going to put the first part of the triplet with my bass drum besides the snare drum. So I have 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. Okay, so now, if I say, go to the stick control book and look at the first sticking pattern, R, L, R, L. They're just that much. The R is going to become the bass drum part, and the L is going to become the snare drum part. So if I take right, left, the first sequence, it would be R would be the bass drum, 1 and the, then 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. So we have that much of the triplet. If I did line 1 constantly between the bass drum and the snare drum, 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the, 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. Now, what I want to do is put my left foot, my hi-hat, on the counts of 2 and 4. Now, the method that I normally use in this situation is a heel and toe. I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so my heel is going to be coming down. 1, it opens up the hi-hat for the count of 2. On the count of 2, I throw down with my toe and lift up my heel. 2 and the, then 3 and the, 4 and the, back and forth. I'm rocking it back and forth. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the, 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. So now, I'm going to take the bass drum part, the snare drum part, and the hi-hat part only. Here we go for line 1 of stick control book. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4. Sorry. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and a simple process. Now, the next element is the ride cymbal. Now, there is no right or wrong when you play in a tune, and if you're humming the tune down and you're having a conversation with the band. This is more of a technical issue. Or if I was backing up a singer in a big band or a small band or a trio or whatever, and I had a chart, the singer would expect a simple ride pattern. We're not mixing it up. We're not playing the melody. We're just laying it back so it gives the singer a platform to sing from. So I'm going to maintain on my ride cymbal. And I'm going to try, I don't know how this is going to work. This is the first time. But I'm going to try to give you an example just from the ride cymbal itself. And I'm going to bring it up on the screen and show you what I do with the ride cymbal. Now, if you look at the ride cymbal and you see my stick, I'll move it over a little bit to here. Okay? Now, there's a couple elements. There's the level system in here. I'm starting at this point, and I'm counting the triplet. I'm just going to play quarter notes, but notice the stick. It always comes back to the same place. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The reason being is that I'm getting the same sounds, 4 quarter notes. But now, if I want to play the jazz pattern, there's something happens with the ride cymbal here. I have to do something with the motion of my hand to get that sound. So I'm going to hit 1 and the. Now 2 is going to become a downstroke. 2 and then the is an upstroke back into the full stroke. The, 3 and the 4 and the. So I want to maintain the sound. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not playing 1. That's not wrong to play that, but in this particular situation, I want to play just that. Okay, so let me get back to the screen here. If you have any questions, please speak up. I'm waiting for the screen to change, I'm sorry. It takes a little while with this system. Let me put it back there, yeah, go. Okay, so now, we're going to do this element with the system that I just said with the triplet, the bass drum, snare drum, hi-hat, against the jazz time. Where is this? There you go. Okay, so now, we're going to play the ride cymbal first. Hi-hat. Now I'm going to put the bass drum and the snare drum part in there on line 1 of the stick control book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and the 3, 4, the 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, that's line 1. We're going to go to line 2. Line 2, it reverses itself. Now, it starts, the triplet's going to start with the left. So the L is equal to the snare drum, remember? So the second line would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 against the jazz pattern. Straight ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do line 1 and line 2, just up tempo a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. But notice the right hand. 1, 2, now line 1 and line 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You want 2 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, now. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's line 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just giving you the triplet element. And I'll do that down with the stick control, the whole page. For example, line number 3, which is 2 rights and 2 lefts, which would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and the hi-hat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Against the jazz time. 2, 3, here we go. 4. 1 and 2 and sorry. 4. 1 and 2 and 3. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we take line 5. Same way. It'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and against the jazz pattern. 1, 2, line 5. Simple. Now that's just a basic pattern which gives you the foundation to manipulate or maneuver the 8th note triplet around. The second element of the triplet is the and of the triplet. And the same process is happening here, and same interpretation and same concept, and the same concept as the downbeat 1, 2, 3, 4. This time we go to the and of the triplet. The R being 1 and the L being 1 and the. So if I did line 1, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the hi-hat 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and against time. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, the and, line 1. Line number 3. Line 5. So that takes care of the first 2 segments, or the first 2 parts of the triplet. 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we go to the the triplet. Same process, same concept. Okay, line 1 would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and against the hi-hat 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and against the jazz time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 1, 1. Line 2. Here you go, line 2. Line 3. Here you go. Line 5. So on and so forth. And then you do the whole page down, and it gives you control of where you can place your snare drum and where you can place your bass drum. It's not about any kind of melodic structure or form of any song. It's just you controlling what you do, okay, with the 3 elements of the triplets. Now, if you have the Gary Chaffee book, which you should have, pattern series, time functions, he has a whole section of his breaking down the triplet, and he doesn't have it written out as playing against the jazz time. I do, however, have PDFs on this. I have all written down. I label it as Chaffee Jazz and Stick Control Book 1001, 1002, 1003. I also wrote the page out in his elements against the time. So if anybody would like the PDF, you could email me, and I'll put my email in here, which is, where's my mouse? Here you go. Hold on. Let me put my email in here. So if you'd like the PDFs on this particular lesson, send me an email and label it as Gary Chaffee Jazz, or Chaffee Jazz rather, and Stick control book, 1001, 1002, 1003, and I'll gladly forward the PDFs to you. Now, that's the three elements of the triplet, but there's so many different ones, and I have so many different things to do with this. But this is the basic foundation, and you should hang out. Don't shortchange yourself by not trying to do the stick control book. It's a little bit of a challenge, but once you feel it, once you get it going on, it's pretty easy. And, you know, I'm labeling it and I'm restricting it as one way, for example, 1001, where you're playing the first part of the triplet, 1002, where you're playing the second part, and 1003, where you're playing the third part. But once you get that going on, you can mix them up. And it's gonna open up a lot of other doors to go into the syncopation book and, you know, play melodic structures. Like I'm gonna mix them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get it going on like that. Any questions to this from this point on? Any questions, gentlemen? This is just the basic way of developing jazz independence against the jazz time. Jim Chapin's book, Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer, is a sort of it is an iconic book in the drum community. And I've gone through it, but no disrespect meant to Jim Chapin. Bless his soul, man. The guy was a dedicated, great drum teacher. And he just would walk around with drumsticks and the drum pad constantly, always trying to help everybody. And I thought that was extremely nice. But my opinion of the book, it breaks it down. There's the graphics in the book that break it down, which is great. But the book itself is like kind of stiff, you know, but that's okay. That's not what it was meant to swing. It was just meant to show you how the left hand falls with the right hand. And it was a difficult book at first. And not until I ventured off into Gary Chaffee's books and the stick control book, blessed George Lawrence Stone, his brilliance in his order of sticking has helped me tremendously and all my students. But you can have a whole lot of fun. I'm just laying a simple pattern down, maintaining the 4, 1, 2. The quarter note sounds the same constantly. A lot of fun. Okay, any questions, gentlemen? Any problems? Now tonight at 7:30 p.m. I will be on my site and basically spending a little bit more time with this lesson. My site is mattpatelalivelessons.com. I'll put that in there. And if you want to come by 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's a free event again. So you have that's my site. So you feel free just to come up and you want to watch the lesson. Not a problem. That's 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we get involved with a whole lot of things. We're going to start doing melodic structures, the AABA, 12-bar blues, and various exercises to develop this. so on and so forth. So if there's no questions, no problems, please see this gentleman tonight, and I'll sign off at the moment. Okay, one last call for questions. All right, have a good day.